Hey, what's going on, everyone? Nick here. Welcome to this next video in our Ecom Empires training. And this is a really awesome video. I've been waiting to get to this. I am excited for this because this is where I'm finally going to start launching some products. All right. And the Bold and Social Store, which you have seen me create up until this point, and then in the last two videos, really diving into Facebook advertising and the theory that I use and the system, how I launch my ads and get started and get testing and how I find my interests and all of that kind of stuff. And now we're going to put it all together and we're going to actually create an ad and start running some traffic to some of these products. All right, I'm probably going to do, I don't know. We'll see how it goes. Maybe one or two videos. Maybe focus on one in this video and another because I'm actually going to be getting a bunch of stuff launched. I have a lot of products that I've put in here that I think are really good, and I'm going to get into launching those right now so we can see what type of results we get and really start making some things happen. Okay. So the first one that I want to launch, just because personally, I'm a real fan of these. I think they're pretty awesome. Are these weed socks right here? And I have a feeling that these can do very, very well, especially with the upcoming vote. If you guys don't know, as I record this in October, in November, 20 states are going to be voting on whether or not to legalize weed. And there's a good chance that at least, like a quarter of them will decide to legalize weed in some way or decriminalize it. So anyway, this is a movement. I'm a supporter of the movement, and we're gonna get in. That really has no place here or there. But anyway, I'm just saying it because I think this is a great product. I think it's got a lot of selling potential, and it's sold a lot on AliExpress. So I know that this is a seller and that people like these, and I got it all set up. So let's get into it. All right, the first thing that we're going to want to do before we can actually get into running the ad is we have to create our Facebook page that's going to be our launch pad for the product. All right, now, when you think of a Facebook page, some people go into this with the wrong idea, and not necessarily the wrong idea, but too complicated of an idea. They think of it as this Facebook page is this massive project that they have to undertake where they're going to be building a following and, posting all of this content and, all blah, 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 right? And it's really not necessary, okay? Yes, your page can grow into a community and a following and you can nurture it and post content and really build a good community if you want to, but you don't have to. It's not a prerequisite to making sales, all right? I've launched so many pages, and I had this question asked earlier, and I'm sure other people are wondering, no matter what, even if I only find one product in a niche, and I think that, because here's the deal, we're only finding products we believe can sell a lot, all right? I'm not going to promote a product that I think is only going to get 2 sales. That's not worth my time. I'm going to promote products that I think can get a lot of sales. Now, I may not always be correct in what I'm thinking, but that's the approach that I take, all right? That's like, just how you should be looking at it. And so in that sense, you want to create a Facebook page for every single product that you launch, regardless of if it's a whole niche and you have future products that you want to launch that niche or not. It doesn't take long to create a Facebook page, as you're going to see, all right? You just want to get a page up because that's what makes sense. All right, I'm going to show you one of the other biggest mistakes that we talked about yesterday that I'm going to bring up right now. Let me go find my little notepad. All right, one of the mistakes that a lot of people make is their ads not congruent. All right, and this says ad not congruent to the landing page, but let's just actually make this a little more general and say that their e-com selling process or your sales funnel essentially is not congruent all the way through. All right, we talked about this a little bit in the very first video where I talked about my strategy, but here's the deal. This is a mistake that people make because if I had, so my store is called Bold and Social, right? And if I have a Bold and Social fan page on Facebook and I'm trying to sell my products through there, it's just not as congruent. Now you say, well, you know, Nick, how is it not congruent? Your store is called Bold and Social, your Facebook page is called Bold and Social, but I'm talking about congruent to the audience and the product. All right. So if I have a product that is weed socks that has weed leaves on them, then it makes a lot more sense to have a Facebook page promoting them that has something to do with weed. All right. Because that makes sense. All right. They look at it and just subconsciously, it's not like people think about it out loud and say, okay, this makes sense to me because it's this type of page promoting it. It's just a subconscious thing that triggers and makes sense, as opposed to if they saw a Bold and Social store that they've never heard of in their life promoting this product. They may think it's a cool product, but they may pass over it because it just doesn't make as much sense. All right, they've never heard of this company, but if you approach them from something they know and recognize and are already passionate about, then it's more congruent with the psychology of that audience and that product. All right, so that's how you want to think of congruency when you're launching these pages to test your products. All right, that's something that is just you want to get in the habit of, and it doesn't, as you'll see here in a second, it doesn't take a long time to create a page. So I do it for every product, regardless of if that product becomes a winner or not. You know, it's worth my time and effort. Okay. So I always do a cause or community generally when I'm creating these pages, and you're just gonna, you know, because I think of it as a community around the audience or the niche that I'm trying to launch. So in that respect, you're not creating a page based on the product, all right? I'm not, unless you have a product that's like, you know, for example, if you've ever heard of the Scrub Daddy, you know, that's a product that the Scrub Daddy is a multi-million-dollar product. So yeah, you could create a page just around the Scrub Daddy. But if in general, something like weed socks, that's not a multi-million-dollar product for me, all right? That's going to be something that I hope I can make you know, a couple hundred sales, maybe 1,000 sales if I do it correctly. I think it's absolutely possible to make that many sales on it. But I want to keep it open to being able to run other weed products, because in the process, I'm going to build a following simply by running the ad. Okay. So we want to come up with something. Give me a second to think of a name here. Let's see if that name is available. Probably not. See, unofficial, legalize it. That's what it'll say if your name is not available. So let's think of something else. Give me a second. I'm going to pause the video to give myself a chance to think here. All right, and we're back. And this is the name that I decided on. I think that will resonate with anybody in this audience. And now for the About page, I always do something really simple. I think, as I've talked about in the future, I just go with, you know, usually I just play off of the name of the page. So something like something very simple like that. Save info. All right, now we need to find a profile picture. For profile pictures, I just go right to Google, okay? So we'll just come here and we'll search Google Images. Start with something like that, weed logo. Huh. I think this is perfect, actually. It's already sized correct for a profile picture. This is good too. I think I might like this better, actually. It's more professional looking. And then simply come here and upload your picture. Next. All right, I don't usually add it to favorites because it's not necessary to add it to your favorites. I don't need it in my favorites because it's not like a personal page and I'm going to be visiting myself. It's strictly for advertising purposes. Preferred page audience. You can mess with this if you want to. I'm not really sure how much this matters. I mean, you know, Facebook can show, I guess it gives Facebook an idea basically, but we're going to be running advertisements anyway. We're not just basing on hoping for organic searches to find our page. But if you want to, you can take a second here and just put in the broadest interest and say, this is a page about weed, right? And give Facebook an idea of who we're interested in. I don't usually spend too much time on this, and a lot of times I just skip it anyway, okay? But you can put the interests in there if you want to, and then save it or skip it down here at the bottom. All right, so when you get to the page, now here's what confuses a lot of people out there. They think, all right, I got this brand new page. I gotta run a likes campaign to it, right? You gotta get some page likes before you can promote something. If you've ever heard of that, if you haven't, don't worry about it because you don't have to do it. The point is that you do not have to run a campaign to get likes on your page. I've seen some people that say, what they do is they have this little trick where they run a campaign to get to third world countries to get some really cheap likes, and then then they start running products. And you don't want to do that, first of all, because you're going to ruin your organic audience. And second of all, you don't need to do it. Trust me. People don't care if your page has no likes. Most of them don't even notice. They don't pay attention to that. And just by running your PPE ads and your website conversion ads, but more so your PPE ads, you're going to get page likes and you're going to start naturally building a community. So all I really do is, of course, you want a cover photo, okay? So for that, we change this to weed. Let's say wallpaper. I usually do wallpaper. All right, and we'll find something cool here. I don't really want to say anything about smoking weed because that's somewhat polarizing. Not everybody smokes weed. Some people like edibles. Some people just want it for medical purposes. My whole purpose with this page is simply to say that life is better with weed. And I think that the audience that I'm going after will absolutely agree with that, whether you personally agree with that or not. So I think I'm just going to go with something like this, if that's big enough. That's pretty cool. There's got to be some other ones here. That's actually super cool. Alright, so we'll save that image. And add that as a cover right here. See what it looks like. Beautiful. Okay. So that'll show up, and then what I usually do, let me refresh this page. Sometimes it takes a minute for it to actually do what it's supposed to. Alright, so it'll show up as I updated cover photo there. I always like the stuff that I did, and then I usually hide the profile picture. Not necessarily that you have to do that, but that profile picture is kind of a sign that the page just started, so I don't usually like that at the bottom. But the cover photo I like because the cover photos I pick are cool. So, and then what I'll do is I'll usually just drop a few pictures on here to fill the page up a little bit. You don't necessarily need to do that. I know some people that don't, but I'll try to find I'll try to find some stuff like this, like quotes that I know are actually, stuff that goes along with what the audience would believe. And then I'll just put them in here. You don't even necessarily have to put a comment in. If you don't, when you drop these memes in here, or that's not even a meme, really, it's a quote, but it says everything you need to say. Like, you don't even need to really drop a comment in. So that's why I like using these types of things. Let's see what comes up if I type this in. Huh. See, like, stuff like this is funny. I'm not going to spend too much time on this, don't worry, but I am going to drop a few pictures in here, and I'm going through it with you so you can see in real time that it really doesn't take that long, and it's not very difficult to go through and just find some stuff like this. You know, and then sometimes I will actually drop a comment like this. And I always go back and like my own pictures. You know, I'm not really trying to put anything on here about smoking. Just want to find some stuff that I know the audience will appreciate. If I can find it in a way that makes like that people can read, you know. I don't want to just put on nonsense. This is a pretty good picture, and it links to an actual reputable site. There was something, you know, I'm going to also really quickly just try to find one more thing. Let's see what this brings up. Huh. I like this too. All right, I think that'll be the last one for now. All right, and I can always come back and drop more pictures on this as well, but for now, I think that that's good enough. And now we can get into actually creating our post. Okay, so when you are ready to create your post, there's a few different types of posts that you can do. All right, as you see here, you can create any type of these posts, and any single one of these, once you create the post, you can run an ad to it. All right, so be aware that there are multiple options available to you. Usually the most popular are going to be going with a photo or a video. I'm going to talk about videos in a different video. I'm not going to be uploading anything for that, but videos can be absolutely extremely powerful on Facebook because it's so cheap to advertise them, and it's like a mini commercial if you do it right. But it's a little bit more advanced of a type of marketing because you have to either be paying for somebody to create a video or know how to edit videos yourself. So we're not going to get into that because photo posts still, I think, work predominantly well by just adding a photo. So what you want to do is you want to create a photo that is going to, number one, get attention. All right, that's a big part of a photo post. All right, you want to have a photo that when people are scrolling through their newsfeed, going about their daily life and just looking at what their friends are doing or whatever, it's something that's going to grab their attention. Remember, people are not on Facebook to buy things. All right, we are marketing in a way that is disruptive to their pattern. But if we disrupt them in a way that they find pleasing and in a way that, you know, they are passionate about whatever we are actually advertising, well, then we're going to elicit a very good response because people are on Facebook to be social. They're on Facebook to find things they like, and they're in that kind of mindset. So you can get them on that impulse buy. You can get them on that social you know, where they want to share, they want to comment, they want to like. That is the platform available to us, but you have to know how to use it right. All right, if your post, I should say, comes off as a direct advertisement, like, hey, buy this right now, then that is very, very rarely going to work. All right. You want it to be a social type of post that does very well at standing out and being something that they find appealing, something that is going to make them want to know more or learn more or share it or like it or comment or, of course, buy it. Now, to do that, of course, you need to have actual pictures that you can use, right? We're advertising products from AliExpress, so unless you're going to order the product yourself ahead of time to create your own video or your own picture, which you can absolutely do that. I mean, that's a great idea if you find a product that you know is going to be a winner, or even if you test a product and realize you have a winner on your hands, you can order one to do that. I personally have not done that very often simply because I'm impatient and I don't want to wait 3 weeks for my product to come. So I can launch it. I want to launch it right away, right? So what I'm going to do is just find the best images that I can use and put them together in the best type of ad format that I can using what's available to me on AliExpress from the product already. So here on AliExpress, what I'll do is I'll just come in here and type in the main keyword to bring that item up, because I don't necessarily know, I may use a different set of pictures than the actual vendor that I'm using. Sometimes the vendor that you chose for best price, best shipping, best reviews type of deal, which I believe is the case here, because there's a couple, there's definitely a few brands that sell these, but I think that I chose the brand that I did based on overall criteria together. However, that doesn't necessarily mean that a different brand out there might not have better pictures. Okay, so I have my product opened up here to look at all the different colors that I have available, because I want to make sure that whatever picture I use, I offer those ones in there. All right, that has to do with congruency. Remember, whatever picture you're representing in your ad needs to be something that when they get to the actual page, it needs to be the same. Otherwise, they will be upset. All right. So, like, this is a pretty cool picture, for example. Now I just got to make sure, do I offer all these styles? Give me a second here to think about this. I don't, unfortunately. They have a lot of colors I don't have. I have some of them, but they have quite a few colors that I don't have. So unfortunately, I can't do that. That's a pretty cool picture, though. Same thing with that. Let's see pictures they might have down here, though. Nope, nothing there that works. Like this, for example, same thing. Picture is really cool, but way too many colors. I don't have all those color options available in my store, so I can't show a picture like that. Again, no pictures here that I can use. Let's keep going. A Coca-Cola bottle. That's all right. Well, we're still looking, Takes some time sometimes. Let's see what they got. They got a lot of different styles. See, like, that's not a bad picture, but, well, the picture quality is not good, but overall the concept isn't bad. So maybe they got some more stuff down here. They offer a lot of varieties, huh? I could probably use some of these. I have the gray and black. I don't have any orange ones. Alright guys, so I actually paused the video there for a second I didn't want to make you have to sit here while I go through the search, because the search is the search. It's not too difficult to understand. I had to open up several pages until I finally found a few pictures I think will work. Now, unfortunately, none of the pictures are exactly as I'd like them to be. So I think I'm going to try to splice a few of these pictures together. Now, I understand that some of you may not be graphic designers, and I said I was going to do this, using the free methods, but I'm going to do this in Photoshop because, I'm not. What it really comes down to is these are the skill sets you should learn or you should outsource if you want to have a good e-commerce ad. Not every ad will be this difficult, but that's the way it is with this one, and so that's the way it is. I'm not going to compromise the integrity of my ad just to do it a free way. Now, you could do it free. It would just take so much longer, so I'm not going to do it that way, all right? So what I'm going to do is screenshot a couple of these things right now. And I make my photo posts 1,000 by 1,000. I do all of my images really 1,000 by 1,000. Some people say you should make your photo posts 1,200 by 1,200, but I think 1,000 by 1,000 works perfectly. All right, now again, you could do what I'm about to do with the free tools that I have. It's just so much easier in Photoshop because I can put them all on the same page, and I can just sit here and cut and copy what I need to cut and copy. The difference on doing it with the tools that I showed you before with snag.gy is you're going to have to individually post each photo and then crop it, save the image, and then open all three of them up. I'll show you what I mean by that in a second, because I do want to be fair and show everybody, or I don't want to do that actually. I want to cut that. Alright, so I'm going to cut that out of there and then repaste it. And then what I'm thinking is I'm going to try to do like a 3/4 type ad, if that makes sense. You'll see what I mean. I'm just calling it that, I guess, out loud. I don't know if that's what it's really called. And then I'm going to take one of these images, this girl right here. I would like a girl and a guy, if I can get them to fit. We'll see. Huh. It's not going to fit. It's going to look stupid. Let's see. I'd have to bring it down a little bit more to make sense. I think this is a guy. I'm not sure. Either way, it's a clear picture and it goes with what I'm trying to do here. Okay, so that's what I'm thinking. And then thinking about just separating them with a little bit of a barrier. If you're watching what I'm doing here and you have Photoshop, this is a good tutorial. Just drop this is easy stuff really, but it's, it works. Copy that and paste it right back on, and then we're going to Is that straight? Okay. All right, and so that is the image that I'm thinking about using right there. And then maybe even putting a cool little symbol in the middle. Like if I open the logo that I used for my profile picture. Where is it? Where is it? There it is. I just that's not going to work. But what I can do is place it right on top and then set the layer to multiply. And do something like that. I think that's actually pretty cool. The pictures aren't as crystal clear perfect as I'd like them to be, but I don't, in this situation, I think it's actually pretty good. Let me get rid of the layers I don't need. Let me merge this all together. And now let me just make sure it's as crystal clear as it can be. All right, and I think that is what we're going to use right there as our image, okay? And I'm going to save this in the folder of where it goes. Smoking section is what I called that category. And I'm just going to name this my weed socks ad. All right, so I gathered those images from a few different places to put that together. Now, if I needed to do this with free sources, all right, there is a way to do that, just like I've showed you before, where I would have to come in here, take the screenshot. It's just a longer process is all. Like I said, because I'm going to have to get each individual image and try to do it correctly, because I can't really play around and look at it like you can in Photoshop, So I'd be cropping each one, saving it. Right, then save the image. Come back to that. Do the same thing here. I'm doing this because I want everybody to have a chance. So if you have Photoshop and you're good on images, obviously you can probably just skip forward in the video a little bit. But I'm doing my due diligence to make sure I make everybody on the same playing field when it comes down to it. All right. And then finally, this one that we used. It's not perfect. See, the thing is with this, because you only get one shot at it, you want to make sure that you crop it correct the first time. And then save it. Now, there's two ways you can put the images together. Another free resource I'll share with you is canva.com. And canva.com is cool because, let me sign in here. It gives you templates that you can use basically for loading things up. You can see some stuff in the past that I've messed with. So you can just come here to use custom dimensions to create your 1000 by 1000 pixel picture. And then it'll give you these formats that you can simply upload your pictures right here and then drag and drop them to where you want them to be within this thing. All right, so that's a tool that you can use as well. One thing you got to be aware of with Canva though is that it will only upload PNG files. All right, if you don't know the difference between a PNG and a JPEG, it's just two different types of picture files. But with Canva, you have to upload PNGs, and the problem with that is that when you save these, it saves them as JPEGs. So you're going to need to find a different way to get your pictures if you're doing it that way. But Canva is a good resource I want to share because you can use it to put stuff together. And then, of course, the other way is simply to go to Pixlr, like we've talked about before. Oh, you don't need to log in. What am I doing? And come down here to the web app, which works very similar to Photoshop, where you can create a new image, create it at the 1000 by 1000 image size right here, and then open your pictures. Use the copy paste function to basically do exactly what we did in Photoshop then, where you can now paste it right to here. And then when you're on that layer, so you can grab that layer and you can do a free transform and make it to the size that you need to make it, right? And then just size those layers in there and put it all together the same way I did. So this will allow you, again, like I showed you in a previous video, between Snaggy and this online photo editor, you can basically do the same thing as I do in Photoshop and make your professional looking images, or you can save them directly from whatever site that you're using if you don't need to screenshot the whole thing, and use Canva as a great resource as well. So enough on that. I can possibly do another video later on graphics editing if we talk about that, but I want to get into the next part of this, which is really launching the ad. All right, so now we'll come back here and we'll use the photo that we just created. All right, so we'll upload that photo there, and now we just have to think about what we want to put in our text or our copy. Our ad copy is what that's called. Basically what we write in here, a couple lines that are going to make people want to click the link. All right. Now remember, the psychology behind this, as we already talked about a little bit earlier, is that we want it to be social. We want it to be engaging. We want people to like it. We don't want to say something like, get these weed socks here on sale now for $5.99. All right. Now, I'm not saying that I haven't seen people use promotions and it works by putting the price in there or saying on sale now. You can try that. Personally, I mean, I never ever include a price because that just comes off as direct sales. Like, here's a price, So I don't want people to feel like it's selling them. I want people to feel like it's social, and if they really like it, then they click the link to find out. Now, you could say something like on sale now, get yours here. You could test that, but I'm going to show you what I'm going to write. All right, so as you can see, I paused and I'm back now, and this is what I wrote. Now, generally, you get 6 lines of text available. All right, or 6 lines available that they will be able to see without having to hit the see more button. All right, so like if I come to my Facebook page here and we scroll down into our, like here's an example, all right? You see how they have 1, 2, space, 3, 4, space, 5, 6, 7 lines and 2 spaces available. So technically 9 lines before you have to click the see more button. Obviously, this is a different type of ad here. For e-commerce, we really, really want to be at the point where everything is there and they don't have to click see more to get there. So I'm going to test this. If it doesn't look right, then I'll edit it. But I think that this will work, and I just have to put the link in here. All right, so one of the things that works very well is asking a question in the first line. All right, so I talk about that here actually. In congruency, use images. So we're using images that have the socks that we actually sell. This is just a tip that this works well. You've seen these before, I'm sure, the cartoon animation type pictures, and then they have a human face in them. That works really well for certain situations, but we're not using that here. Ad is designed to get the click, and the ad tip is rhyming and asking questions. So we're not rhyming in this, but I like to ask questions a lot, and I do like to keep my stuff short and simple, but in this situation, I wanted to add this in here because I think it's relevant. I want people to know, number one, I want to draw attention to the fact that it's perfect for the upcoming fall and winter season because they're high socks. And number two, that there's 20 different color combinations available. All right, and I always drop this in here, tag someone you know would love these. That applies to almost any product you can run. Tag someone you know would love this, tag someone you know that needs this, tag someone to get this for you, something like that, because people will tag other people. All right, so this is my ad copy here. Short, simple, social, asks a question, tries to get them engaged, and also drops some in here without really being advertising, if that's a word, telling them, this is perfect for the fall winter seasons, 20 different combinations available, and then of course the link will come at the end here. So when I do my links, what I'll do is I'll click view page here. I'll grab the actual link, and then I always hide the link with Google Link Shortener. All right, so you'll just grab your overall link here like that, and then come to goo.gl. And then you can see here, I was already messing with this earlier, trying to figure something out. But other than that, you'll just paste it right in here. You do need to be signed into your Google account to do this. You'll just paste that, and then you'll click shorten URL, and it'll give you the short URL right here, which you can then click copy. And then come right over here to your actual post and drop it in there. Now, the reason I don't have anything here yet is because I like to use these things called emoticons. And I don't have the site saved in here for some reason, but I've been there. Here it is, symbols and emoticons. And then you can come to Facebook emoticons here. And you can always try to find some cool things. People respond well to emoticons in an ad. Alright, so I always use this arrow for my get yours here thing, and I'll just, drop that right there. And then I'm actually thinking for fall and winter, it'd be cool to use a leaf and a snowflake, if I can find them. Here's a leaf. And we need a snowflake as well. I know they gotta have one. Just takes a second to scroll through. Is that a snowflake or a star? Might be a snowflake. Oh, it tells you, right? Snowflake. Okay, cool. So we'll put that there like that. And then let's see if we can use the rainbow maybe for the 20 different color combinations. Obviously, they're not going to have a ganja leaf in here, although that would be cool if they did. I'm still going to search to see if they do, but I'm like 100% positive they don't. Okay. So we have that now. Doesn't look like there's anything else in here. Oh, you know what? I might use that though. Right, I think that's kind of cool. People like this little emoticon deal. As a matter of fact, I'm going to do this like this. And I think I'm going to structure it like that. Very, very simple, one line. I think that looks pretty cool. And now we're going to publish it. Now, don't worry about, sometimes people are like, well, should I publish it? See, like, it didn't come up the way I wanted to, so I'm going to have to go back and edit this, but actually, I'm not going to edit it. I'm going to run the ad to see if it shows up different as a sponsored post, because this may be just because it's on my page. I have a feeling as a sponsored post, it'll show all of this. And I like the way that this looks, even though it's a few lines of text, you know, the shorter the better. But I'm going to run this just and continue on. So let's close this, and then let's close this. Now, one thing you will need to do when you come into your ads manager is whenever you create a new page, you're going to have to claim that page. All right. Now, I'm going to go claim that page off screen because I don't, you know, in order to go into my business manager settings, this is where you do it from. You go to your business manager settings and you'll see something up here, or you'll see something on the sidebar that looks like this, which is your pages, so that you can claim you'll click on that, and then you'll see an option over here to claim an asset, and that's how you claim a page. All right, and you have to do that. It's an automatic process anytime you create a new page, but you have to do it. I'm going to do it off screen because I have a lot of pages, and some of them I would prefer not to share. All right, so that's done. And actually, just to correct myself, so what you'll see is you'll see this page icon. When you go to your business manager settings, you'll see it right here. It's the second one down. You'll click on that, and then you'll see a button up here that's blue that says Add New Page. You'll click on that. It'll bring a drop-down menu, and then you'll click on Claim Your Page, and it'll bring up a box where you type the name of your page in, and then just click on it to claim it, and it'll automatically approve it since you're the admin. So that's how you do that. All right, so now let's create the ad. We're going to start with a PPE ad, not a conversion ad. So come back here to engagement, post engagement, and we're going to call this Weed Socks Mobile PPE, right? Product placement. And now we're going to come into here and we're going to do our targeting. All right, so I'm going to open up the audience insights and we're going to kind of practice what we did yesterday. We're going to start with a broad interest of weed. You always type in, like, just type in the keyword to see, you know, what the broadest interest is, and it looks like weed, that actual keyword is, but see, that's not very broad. It's only 250,000 people, so I don't like that. Let's try this again. The weed blog, that's 450,000 people. I think that's a good place to start. We have a pretty split group here, more men. We can see right away that there's not many people over 45 that like it. Definitely not really anybody worth going after over 54. And honestly, you know, look at our product. I don't think this is somebody that I see an older person walking around in. So, you know, right away, I know that I'm probably going to set my age to 45. I don't think that anybody older than 45. Me personally, I might go back and test that later if it's a winning product, but personally, I don't think anybody older than 45 is going to be interested in this product, even though it does show 10% like the weed blog. Now let's come over to page likes and see what we got going on. All right. First, I want to see what this actual page is. Make sure it's, yep, perfect. This is a great starting page that I found just by typing the keyword in. And this is obviously all to do with weed, okay? So now we'll just kind of come in here and see what else we have. Now, before I go through it, I'm going to talk about this stuff as well once I put my audience together, because this stuff I didn't talk about in the last video because there just wasn't time to get into it, but it can be very beneficial to you in your marketing. All right, so we have a lot of stuff here, and I'm just going to start looking through. You know, for a product like this, medical marijuana, now let me just take you through the psychology. You have to think about your products like this. Medical marijuana is not really something that I think is going to be as passionate of a group of people as people that just like weed in general, right? People that smoke weed, people that, you know, like Smoke City, 420 Magazine. different type of things. Medical marijuana is people who probably very much appreciate weed and might be supporters of the legalized weed movement, but that doesn't mean they're going to have that weed attitude where they want to wear the socks. This is more of something I see as like a, more of a hipster kind of product, not even hipster really, but just people that are more that younger, free life generation, free thought kind of people. So I'm going to look for the types of pages that I think are going to really have that type of idea, like 420 magazine. Okay, looks like it could be a good interest. Let's add that in here. 420 magazine. All right, our affinity dropped a little bit, but it's actually, I mean, this is not bad. It's not as high as I'd like it to be, but it's not terrible. All right, so let's keep looking here at what we come up with. People that like Smoke City definitely like weed accessories. Let's see if that's something in here. No, it's not. Now, sometimes, just so you know, interests won't show up in here, but they'll show up in here. Like, let's just test that, for example, and see. No, I guess not in this case either, but sometimes it will happen. It happened yesterday, I noticed, when we were going through our example of fishing. Just be aware of that. Cannabis Training University. No, that's not something I think is really what we're looking for. Let's come down here and see what else is coming up in the relevance. Cannabis Activist Network. Sounds like people that would be interested in everything having to do with weed. Cannabis activists, right? So let's see if that's in here. Cannabis, I guess I gotta spell it right, huh? Alright, so that brings our affinity down a little bit. Let's see if it's the weed blog that's messing it up. Huh. It's not, it's just the affinity is just lower than I want it to be. I mean, this is still not bad. I might have to just go with it. Every audience is going to be different. Because they're not even that high of an affinity to themselves. So that's something that you can use to kind of judge. Why is it doing that? Something you can use to kind of judge, like when there's only one interest in there, 420 magazine. I mean, in all reality, I could test 420 magazine on itself, it looks like. It's kind of a broad interest, though. Potential reach of 340,000 people. Personally, I'd like to find smaller interests and stack them together. All right. Skunk Magazine, 420 Girls. These look like smaller interests. So let's start there. High affinity. These are people that definitely like smoking weed. All right. And okay. So now 420 Girls, let's see what that is. High affinity, okay. Also people that clearly like smoking weed. Well, I shouldn't keep saying smoking, but that are supporters of it and look like, they're all about it. This is actually a business, though, huh? A political organization. But political organization can be very good, especially with something like this, because if people are supporting this as a politic, as a belief, then, this is their logo that people are supporting, a woman smoking out of a bong, then chances are we have a high affinity to the product that we're launching. All right, it's a good place to start testing and see the reaction that we get. Let's keep looking. Looks like these are people that are probably very interested. Let's see if that's weedist. Alright, that brings our affinity down a little bit, but it's still pretty high. Now, I don't know what this is, but because it's in a different language, I don't know what this is either. This looks like medical. But I don't actually even know what that, oh, that's why, because it's a different language. So I'm not interested in targeting different languages at this point, or different countries like the Philippines, which I read. This doesn't look like it's very relevant. So let's start with these interests, all right? Because this is 350,000 people. You don't need a whole, massive group of people. So I'm going to start with these 420 girls, Skunk Magazine, and Weedist, and see what we get over here. $330,000 people. And now, again, like I showed in the other thing, I'm going to come down here and look into what we have going on down here. 420 friends. I mean, there's some big interests here. I'm excited about this because if I do well, I can really scale this. But again, remember, people always say, well, shouldn't you just start going after the big interests now? But no, I don't. Oh, like this is a nice precise interest to add in there. If people like the High Times Cannabis Cup, chances are they're very interested. Girls going, like, there's a lot of interests in here, but I'm just not ready to get into them yet. But something like smoking weed, I'll add in there because that's a very small, precise interest that just helps me stack these precise interests in there. Cannabis Cup, people that like that, smoke some weed. These are people that are, see, they smoke too much weed, they can't even spell correctly. But still precise interest that I'm going to add in here. It's not changing my overall audience size all that much for my potential 280,000 people, but I don't know why this is being weird over here, but either way, I'm stacking these precise interests. See, a lot of these I just feel like are going to be good to test in a different, like Weed Blog, Weed World Magazine. This might be good though, actually. These Cannabis World, Social Cut, like a lot of these I think I could probably, like, notice how I didn't use any legalized weeds in this one. I would like to do that as a separate ad set where I just focus on precise legalized things, because there's a couple of them here. Legalized marijuana, legalized weed, like that can be its whole own ad set, and I think I'll do that right after this. I'll show you how you can launch multiple ad sets to test. I think that's good for now, for this, because I'm going to try a different ad set as well. Right. 420 magazine as an employer. That's not a bad one to toss in there. Because maybe they'll like it and pick it up and write about it in their magazine, right? You never know. Job title stoner, like some of them are just dumb. I don't know that I want to put those in there. All right, I think that's good for now. Smoke weed every day. but I definitely always come through and look, because every time you add a new one, you have other interests that show up, right? So you want to put some time into this, make sure you find what you want to find, and I think I'm good with that. All right, so we have a bunch of 420 type things, some weed magazine stuff, and smoking weed interests all in here. If you don't know what the cannabis cup is, that's basically about smoking weed. So we have, oh, now it's finally populated. So we have a potential reach of 360,000 people. But as you can see here, it shows our estimated of 290,000. That's basically telling us as a PPE ad, our potential reach is really that much, which will be even less probably when it's all said and done. But edit placements, mobile only, no Instagram. And we're going to start this at $5 a day. And we're going to call this weed precise interests 1845. All right. And now we hit continue. And then we're just going to come in here and we're going to find our Facebook page and we'll find the post. So you want to make sure there's a difference here. You can create a new ad up here or you can use an existing post. Since you already created the page post, you're going to use an existing post and you're going to find that page down here. And then when you find the page, it'll most likely bring up the last one. Like it'll have the last post in here. You can scroll through your posts if you want to once you're on the right page. And then over here, you'll be able to see a preview of what that looks like. So you can see in the preview, they are showing us that they're going to show the whole text. So that's cool. I think that looks good. I think that's going to get some engagement, hopefully, if we found the right audience. We're going to track all conversions from our Facebook pixel. Make sure you select that. This is where you can double check and make sure it's only running where you want it to run. Like you see, it's only checked off on mobile, no desktop, no right column, no Instagram. And then when you're done, you'll come down here and you'll place order. All right. And then that's active. Sometimes it'll take some time before it actually starts delivering. Sometimes if you're brand new, it may take some time before it'll say in review. So mine's active. I've run a lot of ads on so I'm usually pretty quick to get started. But if you're brand new, don't worry if it says in review for a few hours. That's just Facebook, kind of figuring out and looking at your account and making sure everything looks good. The only reason it would get declined is if you're trying to promote something you're not allowed to promote against their terms of service, like weapons, or you're definitely on the weed subject. You're not allowed to promote stuff that has to do with smoking. All right, you can have clothes and articles of clothing. That's not wrong, but to have actual smoking or to try to sell like actual weed, of course, you can't do that. And you can't do anything really about sex either. So now that we did that, what we can do is we can come back and we can create, where's it at? Why didn't it show up? All right, there it is. So there's our campaign. Now, if we want to create another PPE to test and just see which one does better, we can create a new ad set in this campaign. And the way that I usually do that is I click on the ad set and then I come over here to where it says create similar ad set. And this makes it real easy because it keeps your post right there. It keeps it within the same campaign. And then you can edit the ad set. All right. So we'll come down here. I'll come back up and name it in a second, but we'll come down here and we'll get rid of all of these. Well, actually, we won't get rid of them. We'll start finding the ones that we want to use instead to test otherwise. And I think we were talking about legalized marijuana. So let's put that in there and get rid of these other ones. You don't want to have any of the same interests in there because that would, oh, I just got rid of it by accident, but I remember the name. You don't want to have any of the same interests because that would be overlap and that's just not going to work well for you. So let's come to legalized marijuana and see. Facebook's ads manager is kind of messing up for me right now. I don't know why it's showing behind instead of in front, but let's see how many people that is. Okay, so unfortunately, All right, now I see it though. That was too big an interest. Facebook's ad manager is kind of messing up right now. Okay, now it's working. So we can start adding some of these precise interests in that have to do with legalize marijuana. And at this point, since I already know the main keyword I'm going off of, I'm just letting Facebook do the suggestions for me. And I'm just going to keep scrolling through, finding these precise interests that have to do with the legalized marijuana movement. That was a big interest. Too big right now. Anything that has to do with legalized marijuana, action, activist, movement type deal is what I'm looking for right here. That was a big interest. I don't want to jump up that high. That's a big interest too. All right, we'll keep it here at 210,000 because this seems like it's a pretty solid group of people to start out testing. Everything else stays the same here. We're running it at $5 a day. United States, 18 to 45. And we're just going to change this now to say legalize marijuana precise interests. Let me just make sure I got a decent amount of stuff in here. Yeah. All right, I think that's good. Just checking out some different ideas. So we're gonna run this now, save and continue, and then it's still at $5 daily. It's still using the same post. It's just a different ad set now on the same campaign. We're gonna place that order. All right, and now when we come back to our original campaign, we should see 2 ad sets in there. So this is what I mean by you can run as many ad sets as you want for a campaign, testing different groups of interests. This is enough for me right now. I won't always do 2 at the same time, but I do think that this is going to get a lot of engagement as a product, and so I'm willing to jump start a little bit here and see what kind of results we get. Plus, in name of the group and in the efforts of training, I think it's also a good example too to show you how you can test 2 different ad sets at once, and then of course come back. You know, I'm not going to be able to do another video on results for this for another couple of days or so. So that's one. I'm going to take you through now a more difficult one for targeting because this was very easy to target, I think, when it comes to weed interests because you know what you're looking for. But we're going to go into one that's a little bit more difficult to target because it's a little bit more subjective. Now, before I do that though, the last thing I want to look at here with you is just a couple of these things here. Location can be beneficial. Remember, we talked about location as a ninja trick that you can target. So I won't always look at this unless, like these numbers are crazy, because this isn't really that crazy. It's saying 0.7%, 1% of that population, basically, of this audience is in this city, and it's showing you the top cities. Now, this makes sense, of course, that Colorado, California, that some of the Michigan, some of these cities that have already legalized marijuana would be in the top. Massachusetts as well, I believe, medical marijuana at least is legal in Massachusetts. I'm not sure about completely. But anyway, so this, if you ever see something that's huge, like that, a large percentage of people is in one city or one area, then that could be, something that's very beneficial for you to target. You could even do split testing where you target one area and then you target the rest of the country minus that area. Top countries would be if you're doing worldwide. Of course, we're only targeting the United States, so that's all that really matters. Activity. This is good to look at because it lets you know what type of interaction they're having. All right. So, like, for example, you can see that the audience I selected, I guess you can look at this number as I don't know if that means a percentage or what it means, but it gives you the comparison. I just look at it as a bar graph compared to people on Facebook. So this is an audience that likes to click on ads, as you can see, which is awesome. They like to share posts. They like to like things, comment on things, and like pages. So this qualifies as a great audience. So a lot of audiences may not. If you're at the average, then you're probably good. If you're above the average, then you're obviously found an audience that could be a very social, very engaging audience for what you do. As you see here, it shows you the overwhelming percentage of people, of these Facebook users, are mobile only, and split between Android and mobile web. And of course the iPads. I don't look at this as much because this is very complicated stuff. You have to run a lot of ad sets to test all the different types of different types of phones. So like I said, this is more when you get into really large audiences, million size plus, and you've already had a lot of sales and you want to start split testing placements to see which performs better. You can look at this to get an idea already ahead of time. Household, I don't really care about as much. This lets you know, I guess where they rank as far as U.S. household and net worth and value of their home. Spending methods can be cool because it'll show you what they spend with, that they're spending using their cards and their, whatever they're doing. Now, this is showing that my audience is lower in household income, that they're high renters, and that they're spending less on their credit cards, which I think has to do with the fact that this is probably a young audience as opposed to a more older and established audience. And then purchase power. You can see, I guess, their online purchase power ranked with the rest of, and this is what I look at more than household, because household, it's showing you that all these different things, but this is really beneficial here because you can see what their online purchases rank compared to others. So for what they're spending, all right, and again, this is kind of subjective, but it can be a good way to look at your audience and get an idea of what they're spending money on, all right? So that's just some stuff that you can look at, but I wouldn't necessarily not run an ad simply because of what this is showing you. Like, this is showing that my audience is 27% less likely to buy clothing online, and what I'm advertising is clothing, but that doesn't mean that I'm not going to run the ad because that's what this is here. This is just something that you can see like a general, because 46% of that audience is still likely to spend money online. So again, just something to take with a grain of salt and kind of look at. It can be very beneficial for you to understand your audience and what they're doing, but it's not really like you have to look at this and say, oh, I'm in the red here, so I can't advertise any clothing. I need to it just is meant to probably give you ideas, like show you what they really do like and what they really are purchasing. All right, so let's now move into where are we at here? All right, let's move into a different product that we want to launch. I have quite a few products that I want to test. And this video is at an hour and 15 minutes long. So I think that's where I'll end this video, and I'm still gonna be launching products, so I'm just gonna pick up and record another video right after this, so I can kind of spread the content out a little bit, make it a little bit more digestible for people, because I know sometimes these long videos, it all depends on the person. I mean, I've watched thousands of hours of videos to learn and get myself to this point, but sometimes it can be difficult. So I'm going to stop this video here, and then I'll pick up in the next video where we'll just get into another practical example of actually targeting and advertising. I'm going to cut out in the next video all of the talk in the beginning and all of the showing you how to do the graphics. I'm just going to already have my page created and my graphics created and my ad created, and I'm just going to get right into targeting with you in the next one and show you a few different things. So I look forward to seeing you in the next video. I hope that you found this very helpful, and look forward to showing you some results as well as we continue to launch some of these ads. This is the exciting part. All right, so I will talk to you later.